firefighter. Authorities say 54-year-old Timothy Hayden started shooting at fire crews with an AR-15 rifle while they were responding to a fire alarm in Ellerbe. That's in Richmond County. One firefighter was airlifted to a trauma center. Hayden is behind bars this morning, being held without bond. And UNC Tar Heel fans feeling a bit humbled this morning. The highly anticipated debut of new head coach Bill Belichick not going quite as planned, at least not for the first game. Last night, the Tar Heels opened their season in Chapel Hill against Texas Christian. The final score, 48-14. After the game, Belichick said the team played competitively, but there is still a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah, this morning we are definitely seeing that post-holiday traffic. Things are back to normal. We have active accidents this morning in several areas. I-77 though in South Charlotte, just some backups from a cleared crash. That's still lingering as of this morning, but we do have active accidents in I-85 northbound near Gastonia in Charlotte, as well as on Independence Boulevard. We'll talk about all of that on WCNC Plus.
And here is your weather recipe for today. Just take yesterday, make the morning a dash cooler and sprinkle in some additional clouds. And then boom, you have today a high of 81. Yesterday was a high of 81. Yesterday was mostly sunny. Today is mostly sunny. And then 83 degrees is going to be our high tomorrow. Expecting an increase in cloud cover, slight chance for rain either side of noon. And then a chance for thunderstorms on Thursday, back to around 90 Friday, Saturday.
And a reminder, the news doesn't end here. Coming up at 7 o'clock over on WCNC Plus, despite keeping up with her bills, a Charlotte mother says her family was left in the dark. Who she's blaming this morning, plus an investigation into that fire at a Lincoln County winery, and a $1 billion jackpot that's on everybody's mind this morning when you need to get your Powerball tickets for a shot at winning it all.
That starts at 7 right on WCNC Plus. Join us there.
morning. Thanks for joining us here at 7 o'clock streaming on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. A live look outside this morning. The return to school and to work. You see it playing out here. This is I-77. You can see a number of cars on the highway there. We're going to check in with Destiny momentarily. Destiny Richards. She's going to have an update on your morning commute. First, though, we're going to start out with meteorologist Chris Mulcahy with that back to school, back to work forecast.
And good morning, everyone. Yeah, yesterday that same image had one car at a time. So what a difference a holiday makes. Sunrise time at 6:57, and it's gorgeous wherever you look for your September 2nd. A wonderful start, and then you can see that beautiful golden orb. So we're just 3 minutes past the sunrise. And flannel weather, yeah, for a lot of us. We had lower to the mid-50s through a good chunk of the area. 58 degrees right now in Charlotte. You're down to 56 degrees in Gastonia. Just dropped to 54 around Concord. Charlotte's been hovering right around and fluctuating between 57 and 58 degrees, and then the 40s up in the mountains. So yeah, no shame. Definitely flannel weather for a lot of us that were in the flannel shading there. 81 degrees is your high today. 81 degrees was the high yesterday. 81 degrees was the high Sunday. I could have simply just said that this will be the third day in a row that we're at this temperature, but that was more fun. We are looking at a beautiful day just like yesterday. You can see True Testament in the background. That's the way most of the day is going to look, and that's the way most of yesterday was as well. So pretty much copy and paste what we had yesterday, put it today. It's going to be a good one. Today of 81, where we have been, is actually more like September 22nd. That's where we typically have a high around 81, which, by the way, is the first day of fall. That's why I dramatized this with some falling leaves. How you feel today and the next couple of days is still in a good range. It's not going to be technically as dry as yesterday. That was the bottom. The value's starting to come up a little bit, but it still feels great. Anything below this line, below the stickiness, is great. Once you get to Thursday and Friday, we skip right over a range, and that humid air is quickly going to return. That's also going to lead to more showers and storms, as we have a few systems that are starting to sneak in from the west, and we break down the high that really has been protecting us. So our futurecast not really showing too much for today. A few showers off towards the west, and then we have passing showers starting to arrive either side of the Tennessee border through the overnight into the early morning hours. Oftentimes, a rain system like this will ride up the mountains, and as it starts to come towards Charlotte, it dies out. So even though rain is holding together, you saw a big reduction in the size and the coverage here. Any rain that we see should be fairly light, and that's end of the morning heading into the early afternoon. Then we clear out the clouds for some sunshine with another shot at some rain to end the afternoon and begin the evening. It's really not until Thursday that we're starting to see these guys, these little pop-up showers and thunderstorms. Those are actual thunderstorms that are going to be scattered throughout the area. I would really say isolated. Not everyone sees one, but you have a chance for some quick downpours. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Now a 60% chance for development. The Gabrielle could be the next storm on the list as we are approaching and only about a week away from the peak of hurricane season. 7-day forecast shows that the lower 80s are starting to shift on the way up. 81 today. We'll be back at that on Sunday, but then either side of 90 degrees on Friday and Saturday. So we really have a fall to summer life forecast. So really something for everyone. Let's get right over to Destiny. Destiny, it is crazy how much busier it is today when it's not a holiday.
Yeah, that's right. Things are definitely back to normal today after the Labor Day weekend. Right now, you're looking at I-77 southbound. This is the southbound side. It's moving perfectly normal in South Charlotte, but on the northbound side, very heavy. That's near the Arrowwood Road exit. And then I want to switch to this view on the northbound side, which is a little closer to the Nations Ford Road exit this morning. So this is from an accident that happened on I-77 northbound at Westinghouse, which is exit 1. Things look perfectly fine there and near I-485, but that had a lane closed. It's now reopened, but traffic is just heavy in this area, possibly from that lane being reopened, traffic moving again, but also this area just gets very, very traffic heavy during this time of the morning. I realized I forgot to press play so I can move forward. Give me 1 second, but just plan ahead for this morning because it's really not going to be a fun situation for people. But again, this accident has since cleared, so reported as cleared, but traffic is pretty slow, and then it gets better as you get up to Tyvola, Woodlawn, and head towards north to Uptown. So things get better, but you can see lots of congestion spots this morning. The most active crashes we have right now, I-85 southbound southbound near North Graham Street in Northeast Charlotte. That's exit 40. Quite a few backups in that area. And then on I-85 northbound near Gastonia, the northbound side has an accident on between NC7 and New Hope Road. And then Independence, not great. So if you're headed inbound towards Uptown, they have an accident between Briar Creek and Hawthorne Lane. And right now, looking at the drive times, it's pretty heavy there. Nearly 40 minutes to get to Charlotte from Gastonia, so plan ahead.
Well, anger and frustration is growing this morning after that recent deadly attack on the light rail. And now we're hearing from safety advocates who say city leaders have gone soft on crime.
It comes as Charlotte's Mayor Vi Lyles called for a special meeting this Wednesday to discuss transit safety and security. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith is live this morning. And Bria, you spoke with some folks who say someone needs to be held accountable.
Well, that's right, Lisa. Advocates for safer public transportation are calling out the city leaders and the judicial system for what they say are allowing these criminals more chance at violence.
Fix what's broken first and then scale it.
Brian Jenkins is just one of the advocates bringing light to the dark incidents that he and others say have taken place within Charlotte over the years.
I think really where the failure came in is that you've got soft on crime DAs, soft on crime judges, soft on crime magistrates, and it's leading to people getting killed, people getting victimized, and nobody's following who's actually doing the releasing.
34-year-old DeCarlos Brown is accused of killing 23-year-old Irina Zaretska on the light rail last month. It's not his first run-in with the law, though. He has previously faced charges like possession of a firearm by a felon, burglary, robbery, and assault on a female. Charges for crimes Jenkins says can't stick if no one is held accountable.
They want to kind of kick the can, pass the buck, and they want to point the finger at CMPD. And, you know, I can tell you they can't have police on every train. They can't have police on every corner. We all can't have our own personal bodyguards.
Zaretska's stabbing death just the latest example of the demand for safety.
We want law and order back in Charlotte again. They seem to be bending over backwards to work for this small, tiny percent of career criminal, the 1%, or maybe even a half of 1%. And the whole thought is, let's be kind, let's be nice, let's be lenient. And it's resulting in people like Irina getting killed.
And again, that special meeting being held tomorrow, September 3rd, starting at 9 a.m. Back to you guys.
So, Bria, question, what are these advocates hoping comes from that meeting tomorrow?
Yeah, Lisa, well, advocates that I spoke with, so Brian Jenkins, but also Tigris McDaniel, they tell me they hope accountability can be taken on behalf of the judicial system. They do applaud CMPD for their efforts in obtaining these criminals, but they do say that it is up to the courts to actually go the full extent with these consequences. DeCarlos Brown, for example, was released from jail several times. A request for a forensic evaluation was put in, but also an extension for that forensic evaluation has been, put up several different times. So they're just hoping that accountability can be taken.
All right, Bria Smith, thanks so much for that report, Bria.
7:08 right now on WCNC Plus, and happening today, Charlotte Mecklenburg leaders are coming together to discuss housing, safety, and community concerns. The meeting starts at 4 o'clock this afternoon and is available to view on the government channel and on the city's YouTube channel as well.
This morning, folks in Huntersville have a new top cop. Brian Vaughn named the town's new police chief. He spent more than 20 years with the department in various roles, a K-9 officer, lieutenant, eventually becoming the assistant chief. Vaughn says he plans to continue a focus on community policing and embracing new technology that can keep Huntersville safe. We'll keep it right here. The latest on the battle between President Trump and the CDC. That's next. The time is now 7:11. Today, Congress is back to work after the August recess. It comes as President Trump faces growing criticism over the shakeup at the CDC. NBC's Alice Barr has more on what the president is now demanding and when the Health and Human Services Secretary is set to testify on Capitol Hill.
With cold and flu season bearing down and COVID cases rising, a shakeup in leadership at the CDC, and new restrictive guidelines drawing confusion about who can get the COVID vaccine. President Trump now weighing in, urging companies to justify the success of their various COVID drugs to, quote, clear up this mess one way or the other, appearing to call into question the effectiveness of the vaccines initially developed during his first term in a fast-track process he's long praised.
Operation Warp Speed, people say, is one of the greatest achievements ever.
That as 9 former heads of the CDC slammed Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in a New York Times op-ed, saying he's, quote, endangering every American's health, and sharply criticizing his firing of CDC Director Dr. Susan Menares, who they say refused to, quote, rubber stamp dangerous and unfounded vaccine recommendations. 4 other top CDC leaders resigned in protest over the firing, one speaking out on NBC's Meet the Press.
There is now an irresistible force that is going to make it impossible for CDC to maintain the validity of its science against ideology.
Lawmakers back in Washington today preparing to press RFK Jr. for answers in a hearing Thursday.
This is contrary to what the secretary said he was going to do, which was follow basic science.
I don't see him ignoring the science. I see him asking the hard questions.
A high-stakes battle raising serious questions for the nation's public health. With the new COVID vaccine guidelines narrowing approvals to seniors and younger people with high-risk conditions, CVS is requiring a prescription in 13 states and D.C. and not administering the shots at all in 3 states for now. Walgreens only saying it's prepared to offer the vaccine in states where we are able to do so. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Also, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem confirming ICE is going to expand its operations to more U.S. cities. Earlier this month, the Trump administration sent federal officers, ICE agents, and thousands of National Guard troops to D.C., claiming to help with crime-fighting operations. Mr. Trump has since threatened federal officers to send them to other major cities, including Baltimore and Chicago. Well, this morning, we've learned former University of South Carolina dean and CNN correspondent Charles Bierbauer has died. He had a 3-decade career in journalism. Back in 2018, he was awarded the Order of the Palmetto, the state's highest civilian honor. A university spokesman told us he passed away at his home up in Spruce Pine, where he lived upon retirement. He was 83 years old.
Keep it right here. We are back with more on WCNC Plus, including details on a fire that destroyed a popular winery in Lincoln County. Time now is 7:17. Perhaps you spent the holiday weekend at the beach. Take a look at this. This is live pictures from Myrtle Beach. Wow. I don't think it's ever looked better, right?
So nice, so serene.
So good. Maybe
some people extending their
Perhaps some people are
week.
extending that. Take the week off if you can. Why not? Anyway, here's hoping that if you are heading back to work or school this morning, your day is off to a great start. We're going to have more on your forecast. Here's a hint. Chris says it's a lot like yesterday. Right now in the news, though, an investigation continues into a fire that destroyed a longtime community staple in Lincoln County. The Woodmill Winery had major damage after that fire on Sunday. WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre is in Vail with more from the owner and neighbors on this loss.
The owner tells me this is a tough loss, but they are determined to rebuild. Now, the community also grieving, but holding on to hope. What was once the Woodmill Winery is now ashes and rubble.
I was just about in tears when I found out it burnt down. I really didn't believe it.
For Deborah Mitchell, this property holds memories. It's where her daughter said, "I do."
Oh, this is one of the most beautiful weddings you could ever see.
The fire tore through the winery's main building Sunday. Owner Larry Cagle Jr. says for 20 years they brought people together for wine and celebrations.
Everything you see here I've designed and I've built it. I love to drive nails. I'm the plumber and the electrician, and it's just this is my baby.
But now thousands of bottles of wine are gone, and so is the winery's main source of revenue. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Neighbors say it is not just a building that is lost, but a part of the community.
I know Mr. Cagle real well, and the family and everything, and the girls that worked in here and all the time, but we're going to miss it.
Cagle plans to rebuild. The community says they will be there every step of the way.
Whenever they do reopen, I'll be the first one here.
The owner tells me they are grateful for all of the love and support they have received. Now, people can still support them. That music facility that you see back there is still open for operations. And anyone who's had an event scheduled should contact the business. They should have their phones restored within the next day or two. In Lincoln County, Jesse Pierre, WCNC Charlotte.
Thanks a lot, Jesse. Here is what our weather recipe is looking like. Well, first off, you take a whole part yesterday. You make the morning just a dash cooler, sprinkle in some additional clouds, and voila, you have today. So pretty much the exact same day as yesterday, just an additional cloud or two. And our rainfall chances over the next few days are coming up by tomorrow, then again on Thursday, but we're still not really seeing any widespread system to give us a lot of rain. Now, you still could have a quick half-inch to an inch of rain from an isolated thunderstorm, but I'm not seeing anything really widespread or anything that's really a noteworthy excessive rainfall event. But we do start to turn on that relative humidity to be a little bit higher and just the mugginess. That's going to allow for daily storm chances. The only days Friday and Monday, and we're not seeing at least a 20% chance for a developing shower or storm. Check this out. This almost looks like the Fury roller coaster, where you see that climb up to about 91, then boom, back down into the lower 80s. Now, of course, the Fury gets more interesting than this afterwards, but either side of 80 degrees is pretty much where we're headed for week number 2 of September, but a big climb back up to that summertime status, but a cold front is quickly going to drag those numbers down. As far as our lows go, we've had back-to-back mornings in the 50s, and tomorrow is going to be a close call as well. The last time that we even had back-to-back consecutive days at below 60 degrees was actually late May 26th and the 27th. We're going to actually see something that we were used to most of the summertime, a low around 70 degrees on Saturday morning. After that, more of the low 60s is going to be the main norm. I want to talk about the tropics a little bit. I mentioned that I was going to revisit this subject. I do not think in the long term this is going to be a major issue for the United States. Things are starting to piece together. We've seen a lot of storms start to turn out this way, but this likely is going to become Tropical Storm Gabrielle over the next 2 to 7 days. And then after that, we have to look at the long range pattern. So, but this is the Bermuda High. This is the big steering current that happens across the Atlantic during hurricane season. And if you look closely, you're going to see a little circle that develops. That right there, that's potential Gabrielle. And this is going to bring us into not this Friday, but next Friday. And it, I think likely is going to start to make a turn likely in this general direction. But hey, a lot can change. Aaron was also looking like this and then kind of split the difference, washing watching a lot of waves on shore. So something that we still want to watch, I think, here in the Carolinas, but it does not look like it's going to continue due west across the Caribbean. So that's your tropical update and our local forecast update. Enjoy it. By the way, the next names on the list: Gabrielle, Umberto, Imelda, Jerry, and Karen. Let's get right over to Destiny on a busy morning commute, especially compared to yesterday.
Yes, definitely a busy commute. This is a live look at I-85 on the southbound side at Little Rock Road in West Charlotte, but the northbound side on the far side of this camera shot is very much stop and go traffic this morning. We do have a new accident in this area, so you can expect backups this morning in West Charlotte between I-485 on I-85 and Billy Graham Parkway. So a full stretch right along here. So the crash is looking like it's a little bit closer to Billy Graham Parkway. So if you're headed northbound into the Charlotte area, just prepare for this backup here as you're getting closer to town. On I-85 northbound in Gastonia this morning, we do have, or close to Gastonia, we do have a crash that has been lingering for a while. This is between NC7 and New Hope Road. So not only will you have to be in this backup, but then another one once you get into the Charlotte area. Going back east now, I-85 southbound between North Graham Street and Statesville Avenue. Long backup here as well. This one's a little bit better. It's more of a slow traffic impact. And then Independence still have a crash here between Briar Creek Road and Hawthorne Lane.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. Time for our Tuesday Tailwagger, along with friends at Animal Care and Control. They have two locations. The satellite locations on Toomey Avenue, right off Interstate 77, Remount Road. We want to bring on our special Tuesday Tailwagger today. This is Esco, looking for a forever home. Esco is about 5 years old, weighs somewhere from about 55 to 60 pounds. Very friendly, very gentle dog. He's been there since June, hoping that maybe this week he'll find a forever home. Gets along with the dogs. He is house trained, knows commands, and learns easily. What more can you ask for? He's at the Toomey Avenue location of Animal Care and Control. That's over. They're right off Interstate 77 at Remount Road. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can log on to animalclt.org for all the information. He is looking for his forever home. He's about 5 years old, just a big, sweet dog. His name is Esco, and he is our very special Tuesday Tailwagger this morning. Larry Sprinkle.
All right, Larry, thanks. 7:25 right now. Live pictures right now over local roadways. Sun coming up. Make sure you put down that thing. What is it called?
The visor.
The visor, yeah, because it's right out there.
Sunglasses, too.
Sunglasses as well. Be careful, folks. We're back in just a few minutes right here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everyone. Yesterday we were at 81, and guess what? Today we're back at 81, which is more like September 22nd, the first day of fall. How you feel, Cass? Is feeling absolutely fantastic. Yesterday was just an absolute best beginning to September you could have, and looks like we're going to copy and paste that day onto today, but feeling a lot more humid by Thursday heading into Friday, and then those rain chances also coming up slightly for your Wednesday, Thursday, and again on Saturday and Sunday. But we're going to see mainly dry periods periods compared to wet ones. These are just isolated passing showers and or a thunderstorm. I think a better thunderstorm chance on Thursday. Look at those temperatures by Friday and Saturday. Upper 80s to lower 90s Friday, Saturday before a cold front brings us right back to where we are today into the lower 80s. So let's take it away with Destiny Richards to see how this morning's behaving so far.
Yeah, that easy Labor Day traffic is long gone this morning. We are back to backups. So this is I-85 at Little Rock Road in West Charlotte. The northbound side, we do have a crash and big backups between I-485 and Billy Graham Parkway. The crash is specifically closer to exit 33, and there are 2 left lanes closed in this area. Also, if you're coming from Gastonia, I-85 north between NC7 and New Hope Road. We got a lot more to talk about. That's all on WCNC Plus.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson.
We begin this morning with some breaking news. A live look at the intersection of Beatties Ford Road and Hyde Park Drive, where CMPD officers are investigating a homicide. Our crews at the scene are working to learn more from police. Of course, we will update you on air and right here on WCNC Plus as soon as we get information about what's happened here. Again, reports of a homicide here at the intersection of Beatties Ford Road and Hyde Park.
Looks like a big scene there this morning.
For sure.
Meanwhile, a local mother says she's been paying every single bill on time, and yet her family has been left sitting in the dark, and now she's blaming her rental company, accusing them of negligence that's now putting other families at risk.
WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard shows us this mother isn't the only one speaking out.
Aisha Bilbrey says she and her 8-year-old son woke up to silence.
With this happening was just kind of the last straw.
No hum from the refrigerator, no air conditioning, no power.
So I call to see what's going on. So I call the city and they're like, yeah, the power's out due to no payment. And that's when things got crazy.
Bilbrey says these are receipts of payment, which includes the utility account tied to her rental home. But still, their electricity went out. And so did their trust in the company.
Then they stated that we weren't the only customers who was going to lose power, didn't have power because First Key didn't pay.
Bilbrey then called First Key for answers. She says all she got were promises of a ticket being submitted, no timeline, no property manager's number, and no solutions.
We went the entire day in the heat, extreme heat, with no power at all.
Other families spoke out about the same issue on social media. The Better Business Bureau also shows a history of complaints about First Key homes, more than 1,500 over the past 3 years. Some related to disconnection issues. Others dealt with things like poor maintenance and communication issues.
I don't trust them, and I don't believe anything that they say going forward.
Now, we have reached out to First Key Homes about some of these ongoing issues. Right now, we're currently waiting to hear back. Reporting for WCNC Charlotte, I'm Tradisha Woodard.
Well, thanks a lot, Tradisha. Excellent report there. And Beach Mountain, that's where we are right now. Well, not really, just standing in front of a green screen that is showing Beach Mountain behind me. Lots and lots of sunshine wherever you go. Here, I'll prove it to you. Here's Monroe pointing directly up at the sky. We're looking at Venus rise up in the horizon. Of course, you can't see it anymore because the sun took over. And then WCNC roof camera sitting pretty, still seeing a little pink hue off in the distance in Lylesville. Oh man, we're doing it. I think at most we're just going to see a additional cloud or two today, but very similar to what we had yesterday. Same great feel. And also look at our temperatures, 81, 81. I kept them the same, not because of laziness, well, a little laziness, but it's just that it looks like a same repeat for our lows, for our highs, how the day looks, and the moisture level's a little bit higher, but really not all that much. Here, I'll prove it to you. Check out our dew points. The dew points did drop down to a very dry range, looking at the 40s, and then they came back into the 50s. The 50s still feel great. It's not until 60 degrees that it really starts feeling humid. We're going to be below that threshold. So yes, technically it is a little bit more humid today. That was the reason why yesterday won the pick of the week status compared to today, but still an absolute fantastic one. And Wednesday is also not going to be overly humid, but that is going to change. Once you get to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we're turning up that summertime moisture, and we're going to be feeling it, y'all. So the worst part about that is whenever you have a really dry, comfortable day, and then you turn the humidity back on, it almost feels worse, kind of like a social science type of deal there. This is also going to turn on our rain chances as well. Isolated activity on Wednesday and Thursday. Keeping it dry for Friday for now. Might have to turn it back on to see if things start to change, but it does look like a little lull in the activity before we have isolated chances yet again on Saturday and Sunday. So here's what we can see so far on our near-term futurecast. Nothing today. Don't worry about it. Get outside and enjoy it. Maximize your Tuesday. And then on and off showers just really west of Asheville. Other than that, we're waiting on our next wet weather system. If you are watching from the mountains and the foothills, you have a chance for rain right before sunrise tomorrow. And this band of rain and showers, I think, is going to die out as it pushes off towards the east. That means much of the Piedmont, the surrounding Charlotte area, will stay dry, but there is a slight chance for a little bit of rain, additional clouds to end the morning and begin the afternoon before this starts to erode, allowing for a decent amount of sunshine, and then another chance for showers, especially west of 321 around Shelby up to Morganton to end the afternoon heading into the evening. Now, bringing us to our Thursday, I think we see the usual summertime pattern that during the morning it's sunny, then we pick up those cotton ball like fair weather cumulus clouds, and some of them start to grow up vertically, leading to a thunderstorm or two. But you don't really see a big coverage area, so I'm not saying, hey, you're absolutely going to see storms. It's really few and far between, and then heading into your Friday, we look like a slightly drier forecast, but we're turning things up. It looks like a lot more sunshine on Friday. High pressure system starts to try to glide back in. Lower 90s, calling for another 90-degree day on Saturday. Friday's going to be close too. But then a big bad cold front rolls through, giving us a better chance for rain Saturday night. That'll bring our highs back down to what we have today into the lower 80s. So Destiny, as I'm saying, it's kind of a mix of fall and summer.
Yes, love that. Do not love our traffic situation this morning. If you are headed into the Charlotte area for work at 9 and you need to leave right now. If you're headed from West Charlotte, if you're headed from Gastonia, right now we have huge backups. I-85 at Little Rock Road because of a crash near Billy Graham Parkway this morning. And the drive time into the Charlotte area is about an hour from Gastonia right now. So right now we have I-85 northbound between Little Rock and Billy Graham Parkway. The crash is closer to Billy Graham Parkway, and 2 left lanes are closed at that exit. That's exit 33. As you can see, the backup just grew a little bit beyond I-485 this morning. So it's a really terrible situation out there. We also have this crash that has been lingering, also a bad situation. I-85 northbound between NC7 and New Hope Road. So you'll run into this and then also that crash and that backup in the Charlotte area as well. So you really want to plan ahead if you're headed into work today. Here on I-85 southbound between the I-85 connector and West Sugar Creek Road, we have another accident. This is in Northeast Charlotte. The backup is about to University City Boulevard this morning. Definitely plan ahead for this as well. Not as serious of a backup, but still an issue. And then Independence Boulevard West between Briar Creek Road and Hawthorne Lane. This backup has been going on for about an hour now. So it's definitely a red map in a lot of areas this morning across the Charlotte area. You'll definitely want to plan ahead on I-77 northbound from South Carolina into the Charlotte area, on I-45 Interloop near Matthews, and then on I-85 northbound coming from Gastonia this morning. Here's a look at your drive times, and you can see right there 63 minutes to get into Charlotte from Gastonia.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much. Again, allow yourself plenty of time to get to where you are headed this morning. 7:37, and right now a man is facing multiple charges accused of shooting at a firefighter. Authorities say 54-year-old Timothy Hayden started shooting at fire crews with an AR-15 rifle while they were responding to a fire alarm in Ellerbe. That's in Richmond County. One firefighter was airlifted to a trauma center. Hayden is behind bars this morning. He's held without bond. A Kings Mountain police officer is behind bars without bond in connection to an assault at his home. Officers arrested 37-year-old Edward Ray Paget yesterday. He is charged with assault with a deadly weapon and accused of causing serious injuries. Paget is set to appear in court later this week. We'll keep it right here. We're back with an update on what South Carolina lawmakers want to do with some empty school buildings.
We continue with our breaking news right now. It's 7:40 here on WCNC Plus. A live look right now at the intersection of Beatties Ford Road and Hyde Park Drive, where CMPD officers are investigating a homicide. To give you a better idea of where this is North Charlotte, just north of Sunset Road. They're off Beatties Ford Road. Our crew is now working to learn more from police, but as you can see here, an entire road, the entrance there to Hyde Park Estates, a well-known neighborhood there, completely shut off at this point. To give you some idea of the gravity of the situation, we're going to keep talking to investigators there on scene, trying to figure out a little bit more on this situation. But again, breaking news of the morning, just in the last 20 minutes or so, a homicide investigation there at Hyde Park Estates, just off Beatties Ford Road in North Charlotte.
Other news this morning, many school districts across South Carolina own empty buildings, some unused for years. Now lawmakers are pushing for new legislation that could turn those properties back into something useful for the community. Josie Frost has the story.
Well, what are we going to do with this old building? Are we going to repurpose it? Are we going to close, demolish the building and put up a new structure? So those are all things that need to be factored in.
Dina Cruz is with the South Carolina Education Association. She says retired school buildings often sit unused, but could they get a second life? In a recent committee meeting, lawmakers suggested in rural areas, old buildings could be transformed into anything from a historic site to a pop-up medical facility.
The buildings that could be repurposed in these rural communities,
that were the old schoolhouses that could now be, even if it's just a couple days a week, a medical access where public-private partnership perhaps could be sought after to help bring access into the healthcare access to these rural areas.
To do it, lawmakers say they need to pass a law requiring school districts to report all the unused properties they have so the state can get a comprehensive list. Districts could sell off old buildings to help pay for new school construction. Cruz says there are a number of ways the properties could go to provide resources for teachers in rural areas.
What if some of these facilities became daycare centers where it was, the district was over it. They had their employees, but the teachers and educators within the school would have a safe place for their children to be at where they can get there on the way to school, as opposed to maybe having to drive out the way, drop their child off, and then come back in another direction just to be able to go to their job.
All right, parents, listen up. North Carolina's public schools have officially replaced Power School. We've talked about this now for weeks, with Infinite Campus as now the statewide student information system. Parents, you probably know this, but you got to create a campus parent account to access grades and other student data. The change comes as state leaders said agencies need to modernize their systems. So the Board of Education chose Infinite Campus, saying it's better suited to meet those requirements.
Approaching 7:44 now, it's time for us to connect the dots. That's when we make the news make sense. The job market may look steady overall, but for many Black Americans, it's a different story. Unemployment among Black Americans is rising at the fastest pace in years. Let's connect the dots. The national unemployment rate for Black Americans is now 7.2%. That's the highest level since 2021. For comparison, the overall U.S. unemployment rate is just 4.2%. What's surprising is that education isn't protecting workers. Even Black college graduates are struggling. Their unemployment rate has nearly doubled in just a few months. Economists say the slowdown is hitting jobs that are more vulnerable, like entry-level positions or federal jobs. Those are roles where many Black workers have historically found stability. And the numbers have a human cost. Families are falling behind on rent. Even people with advanced degrees say they can't find steady work. Experts warn this could erase years of progress in closing the racial employment gap. And with diversity programs being cut back, recovery could take even longer. And that's connecting the dots. We'll keep it right here. We have details on the part of the Blue Ridge Parkway that's now open in just 2 minutes. time is now 7:47 on this Tuesday morning, and we are on top of some breaking news this morning in North Charlotte, where CMPD is investigating a homicide. This is a live look at the intersection of Beatties Ford Road and Hyde Park Drive. You can see a heavy police present there, a number of officers and investigators on the scene. Now, we do have a crew at the scene. In fact, our Bria Smith is actually heading to that scene as well. We're trying to get some more information from police about what has happened here, but you see again the heavy police presence there, more of them coming to the scene on Beatties Ford and Hyde Park Drive in North Charlotte. Reports of CMPD investigating a homicide. As soon as we get more information, of course, we will pass that along to you and hopefully get a live report from our Bria Smith once she gets to that scene.
Well, just in time for fall, you can now drive more than 85 miles of the Blue Ridge Parkway for the first time since Hurricane Helene. The repairs have fixed the stretch from Asheville all the way to Cherokee. On social media, Blue Ridge Parkway folks asking you to be patient and respect any remaining closures. And if you plan on going hiking, watch out for hazards that are still very much there, like landslides and tree debris. Also, in just a few hours, Governor Stein is going to hold the first North Carolina Strong update. During the press conference, the governor's office will talk about new initiatives and state agencies that aim to create more opportunities for folks here in North Carolina and make the state overall stronger. Conference starts at 1:30 in Raleigh. Well, summer's winding down, but we still have some hot days ahead. Don't you worry about that. And have you ever stepped outside on a summer day and just feel like the air is just thick?
Oh, for sure. Well, listen to this. If you are surrounded by cornfields, you might be feeling something called corn sweat. That's right, corn sweat. Meteorologist Claire Fry explains.
It's not sweat like after we have a workout, it's actually transpiration. Corn plants, just like all plants, pull water from the soil through their roots, and on hot, sunny days, that water travels up through the plant and escapes through tiny pores in the leaves as water vapor. Think of it like the plants are exhaling moisture into the air, and when you've got acres and acres of corn all doing that at once, the humidity can shoot up fast, making it feel much hotter than the actual temperature. This extra moisture can push the heat index that feels like temperature several degrees higher, so even if the thermometer says 90 degrees, you might feel like it's closer to 100 degrees or more. So the next time you're driving past those tall green stalks midsummer and start to break a sweat, remember, it might not just be the sun. The corn could be sweating right along with you. With your Weather IQ, I'm meteorologist Claire Fry.
I can tell you, I've never uttered the phrase corn sweat.
I was just saying, you learn something new every day. Today, we've learned about corn sweat.
Yeah, and we do have cornfields here, but especially Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana are some of the states that are most affected, in Iowa.
Okay.
Because of the amount of corn that is physically out there. So, like, I think more cornfields than people in some of those areas.
Sure.
Trust me, I lived in Iowa for a little bit. But that's especially influential, really, the last week of August and then the first week of September. So we're kind of in the peak of corn sweat. Who knew?
Who knew?
Right? But not sweating as much today.
Thank
regardless
goodness.
of corn or being human beings. But it's right in this stretch that we usually have some of the higher values. I was actually looking at some of the graphics that one of my friends from Columbus was showing, that there was actually a huge surge on August 26th that you could physically see all these areas of brown. That's where we had some of the higher values, and a lot of that was from corn sweat. So what do you know? I actually want to talk a little bit more about the tropics here. We are heading into the peak of hurricane season. September 10th is the exact peak, so technically we're already within the peak. That's from August 20th to October 10th. But I want to show you the new update that we have from the National Hurricane Center. So this little area that they're following, this little tropical wave, now has a 30% chance to turn into a named storm, or at least a tropical depression, over the next 2 days. So that really shows over the next 2 to 5. I think we're going to hit the sweet spot that we potentially could be naming this Tropical Storm Gabrielle. That would be a little bit of a hiatus since what we had from Hurricane Erin, but our jet stream pattern, I want you to focus in on this area. So this right here is called the Bermuda High. The closer that this gets is going to be a big steering current to the United States. So say that this is a little bit further off towards the west, that could guide a storm more into the Carolinas. But since it is positioned a little bit further off towards the east, that usually grabs a hold of some of these storms and guides them back out to sea. So what we're seeing is on day 10 of the forecast, so this would be not this Friday, but next Friday, is potentially where we could have Gabrielle. And as Gabrielle is starting to get get sucked into the flow. It looks like it's more trending to veer back out to sea, so good news there. However, Erin also trended much further west, so we'll see if there's going to be some subtle changes. It's still way too far out because it's really days 8 to 14 that we're looking at. It's outside of day 3 that things really start to go down as far as the confidence and the accuracy, just because of so many changes by 1 degree completely shift the path of a storm. Our Atlantic hurricane names that are up next: Gabrielle, Umberto, and Imelda. So a better chance that we're going to have Gabrielle coming up. And I wanted to show you a little correlation here. So our hurricane names recycle every 6 years. So oftentimes you see the same names repeating themselves. So we've actually seen Helene multiple times before in the past, mainly in the 50s and 60s, but it didn't get retired, so we continue to repeat it. So as long as the name doesn't get retired, it gets reused. But the most notable Gabrielle was back in 1989, where it actually became a major hurricane. But look at the coincidence. Right in this zone, it made a turn back out to sea. And I was looking at some of the long-range models. It looks like this could follow a very similar suit to 1989's Gabrielle. Didn't really make a big difference, just kind of seeing the correlation there. But get ready for over the next few weeks, especially, that any tropical lows could quickly turn, which would also turn our forecast. But in the near term, we are not affected. So, of course, we'll keep you updated. And Destiny has a lot to keep you updated on for your morning commute. Boys have been active for you, my friend.
Yeah, it definitely has. Right now, we're looking at an image of that accident that is backing up traffic on I-85 northbound in West Charlotte. This is at Billy Graham Parkway, so you can see police on scene here and then some tow trucks. These are the 2 lanes that are blocked right now on I-85 northbound at the Billy Graham Parkway exit, just right there. So this morning, definitely want to plan ahead for this. If you're headed from Gastonia, from West Charlotte into Uptown this morning, you're going to be dealing with backups. The best thing to do is to try to find a way to avoid it, or just leave right now if you have the time. But we have a lot of red across the map this morning. Some of the traffic that is on I-85 northbound here is causing some backups on I-45, so people trying to get off and interchange onto I-85 as well. So just plan ahead for that. But here's the closure and the backup this morning. 2 left lanes again that are closed there. This should be the icon right there. But this morning we do have a detour for you. Just take Wilkinson Boulevard into Charlotte, but just plan ahead for the backups.
Live at 7:56 now, an update on breaking news this morning. This is a live look at the intersection of Beatties Ford Road and Hyde Park Drive in North Charlotte, where CMPD officers are investigating a homicide. You can see the heavy police presence at the scene there. We do have a crew at the scene. We're going to have a live report for you coming up at 8 a.m. only on our streaming app. That's WCNC Plus.
And this morning, we definitely have a busy situation, especially on I-85 northbound this morning. This is the crash at Billy Graham Parkway. 2 left lanes are closed at exit 33, and this crash has just been creating a lot of backups across the area. So you definitely want to plan ahead for this. We also have 2 left lanes closed there, as well as a left lane that is closed near Gastonia. So this is I-85 north between NC7 and New Hope Road. 2 crashes here. Chris?
Thanks a lot, Destiny. Not much to mention in the weather world, at least in the near term. 81 yesterday, 81 today, and then the day before that was actually 81 as well. But we start our warm-up and we start to increase the moisture in the air. 83 on Wednesday. Better chance for a thunderstorm to return on Thursday. But look at this. Either side of 90 degrees Friday and Saturday. So a last-minute summer surge. We are live streaming right now on WCNC Plus if you want to come join us. If not, we're going to be right here on WCNC Charlotte. Back in about 30 minutes with another news, weather, and traffic update.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington.
And we are following breaking news at this hour. CMPD investigating a homicide in North Charlotte.
WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith is live at that scene on Beatties Ford Road and Hyde Park Drive. Bria, I know you just got there. What can you tell us? What have you learned?
That's right, Ben and Lisa. Well, we're currently here. You're taking a look at the heavy scene at Hyde Park Estates. We're right at the intersection of Hyde Park Drive. There's traffic flowing and Beatties Ford Road. Since we've been here, we've seen CMPD on scene speaking with nearby neighbors about what has happened, what they maybe have heard. We haven't had the chance to speak directly to CMPD just yet, but you do see heavy law enforcement there. It looks like they're having a conversation. You can see the investigation truck there. Just a heavy scene here. We're still waiting to learn more details about this investigation, including things like how many deaths, if there were more than one, and we'll keep you updated here on WCNC Plus all morning. Back to you guys.
And Bria, it appears, I think that's Beatties Ford Road directly behind you, and it appears that officers are trying to keep traffic moving there because, I mean, everybody knows Beatties Ford Road. You're just north of Sunset. That's often a busy stretch of road. It looks like traffic's flowing smoothly there.
Yeah, it's actually flowing pretty well. There have been a couple of cars that have stopped to just kind of take a look, but we did see school buses able to flow pretty smoothly here, so still getting children and students to school. No major stops here so far, but like you've said, Ben and Lisa, it is a pretty busy road here behind me.
All right, our Bria Smith live on the scene. And of course, as we get more information, we will, of course, pass that along to you. Let's get a check now on our forecast for this day after Labor Day. Chris is standing by, and again, it's going to look a lot like yesterday.
Yeah, and we loved yesterday, right? This morning's low was 58 degrees. Guess what yesterday's low was? If you guessed 58 degrees, you're absolutely right. And that really just shows that we really are copying and pasting our lows and our highs almost an exact identical day. That doesn't always happen. Current temperatures, we've started our warm up, our venture on up. 61 degrees around Charlotte, 54 for you still in Concord. And the new updates haven't come down for a lot of you. So our weather recipe, we're literally taking yesterday. We're just making it a little bit cooler, even though we have the same temperature for the Charlotte area. Many surrounding areas were a little bit cooler this morning, and we are going to sprinkle in a few additional clouds and add just a little extra moisture. Other than that, you're good to go. You're still going to have a sunny to a mostly sunny day. I just think that you see a few more clouds compared to yesterday. It was really just a lot of some of those upper level wispy guys and some virga, and that's precipitation that evaporates before it hits the ground, makes a little swooping motion to the sky. Our high temperature, as I mentioned, 81 degrees. That means we're hanging out in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees for the duration of the afternoon. It's feeling great. You're going to have winds gusting only up to about 10 to 15 max, so really light wind as well. It's also going to feel great over in the near term today. Tomorrow, feeling great, feeling wonderful, but then we start to see the stickiness return on Wednesday evening, and then boom, back to that uncomfortable summer-like air. Now, September is still technically a majority summer. Now, here in the weather world, of course, we're keeping our fall-like records, but our day and night rain chances are going to start to come back, meaning that we have more moisture in the atmosphere, a better setup for pop-up showers and storms. Wednesday comes with a chance for a shower. Thursday comes with a chance for a storm, and then we kind of rinse and repeat that forecast Saturday heading into Sunday, because over the next 36 hours, we're starting to see some rain jump in from the west, so that means you could have some scattered rain to start off your Wednesday, clearing out before we see another round on your Wednesday evening, and then we have a chance for isolated thunderstorms by your Thursday. So nothing that's really widespread that you absolutely need the umbrella for. If I were to say that there's a period, it's really for you in the mountains and the foothills tomorrow morning. But what often happens with a system like this, as it starts to ride down the mountains, a lot of the moisture gets squeezed out. So it might be popping up on the radar, but not much is hitting the surface. So we'll still call very light rain, some sprinkles to end the morning, heading into the afternoon for your Wednesday, a few isolated showers for the evening. And then for your Thursday, this is literally the storm coverage. You can count the number of storms that are here popping up on the map. So a lot of us are staying dry, but there's still always that potential. 7-day forecast also showing on the way up. We have the upper 80s on Friday, lower 90s on Saturday, some spotty isolated rain chances, but all in all, some great days. But as I mentioned, I'll repeat myself, if you loved yesterday, you're going to love today because it's pretty much the exact same day. Let's get right over to Destiny, where it's not the same traffic day now that the holiday has been lifted. You have a lot going on. Take it away.
Yeah, definitely. This is our most recent image of a crash on I-85 northbound at Billy Graham Parkway this morning. 2 lanes are closed right next to that exit 33. So this is going to definitely cause a lot of backups if you're coming from West Charlotte, if you're coming from Gastonia this morning. This is a look on the far side of the northbound traffic coming from Little Rock Road there. So definitely a bad situation as you're coming back from the holiday weekend. I know you'll definitely want to plan ahead because we have a lot of backups really across the map this morning. Lots of red. If I can get to it, there we go. So you want to plan ahead. There's some residual backups on I-485. No crashes on I-485, but I-77 and I-85 have been especially active this morning. So this is our look at the backup here on I-85 northbound. Again, 2 left lanes closed there. And then over near Gastonia, we had a crash here that had cleared, and now it's at I-85 northbound between NC7 and the Belmont Mount Holly exit. Left lane closed there, so you'll have to deal with this and the crash in Charlotte this morning if you're coming from Gastonia. We also have this lingering accident, I-85 southbound between the I-85 connector here and West Sugar Creek Road, exit 41. This has gotten a little bit better since it was last reported. So we're seeing some of that impact die down. Going to the south now, we do have a left lane blocked on I-77 north between I-45 and Nations Ford Road. Backup starting to build right here again. And then Independence Boulevard, we still have a crash here west between Briar Creek Road and Hawthorne Lane. So it's just been a busy morning. The drive times are really backed up right now. Belmont, 57 minutes to get into the Charlotte area, and Gastonia, 73 minutes.
All right, Destiny, thanks so much. Anger and frustration growing this morning after that recent deadly attack on the light rail. Now we're hearing from safety advocates who say city leaders have become soft on crime.
It comes as the mayor has called for a special meeting tomorrow to discuss transit and safety. WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith spoke with folks who say someone needs to be held accountable.
Fix what's broken first and then scale it.
Brian Jenkins is just one of the advocates bringing light to the dark incidents that he and others say have taken place within Charlotte over the years.
I think really where the failure came in is that you've got soft on crime DAs, soft on crime judges, soft on crime magistrates, and it's leading to people getting killed, people getting victimized, and nobody's following who's actually doing the releasing.
34-year-old DeCarlos Brown is accused of killing 23-year-old Irina Zaretska on the light rail last month. It's not his first run-in with the law, though. He has previously faced charges like possession of a firearm by a felon, burglary, robbery, and assault on a female. Charges for crimes Jenkins says can't stick if no one is held accountable.
They want to kind of kick the can, pass the buck, and they want to point the finger at CMPD. And, you know, I can tell you, they can't have police on every train. They can't have police on every corner. We all can't have our own personal bodyguards.
Zaretska's stabbing death just the latest example of the demand for safety.
We want law and order back in Charlotte again. They seem to be bending over backwards to work for this small, tiny percent of career criminal, the 1%, or maybe even a half of 1%. And the whole thought is, let's be kind, let's be nice, let's be lenient. And it's resulting in people like Irina getting killed.
Bria Smith reporting for us there. Happening today, Charlotte-Mecklenburg leaders are coming together to discuss housing, safety, and community concerns. The meeting starts this afternoon at 4 and is available to view on the government channel and on the city's YouTube channel as well.
Well, keep it right here. We're back in just 2 minutes with how one traveler tracked down his stolen luggage.
(8:11) right now. We are streaming live right here on WCNC Plus, and you notice there at the bottom right hand of your quarter, we continue to follow breaking news out of North Charlotte. A homicide investigation happening at Beatty's Ford at Hyde Park Drive. That's just north of Sunset Drive. We do have a crew there, but we're keeping up that live picture so you can keep updated throughout our news stream. In the meantime, today Congress back to work after the August recess. It comes as President Trump faces growing criticism over that recent shakeup at the CDC. NBC's Alice Barr now with more on what the president is demanding and when the Health and Human Services Secretary is set to testify on Capitol Hill.
With cold and flu season bearing down and COVID cases rising, a shakeup in leadership at the CDC, and new restrictive guidelines, drawing confusion about who can get the COVID vaccine. President Trump now weighing in, urging companies to justify the success of their various COVID drugs, to, quote, clear up this mess one way or the other, appearing to call into question the effectiveness of the vaccines initially developed during his first term in a fast-track process he's long praised.
Operation Warp Speed, people say, is one of the greatest achievements ever.
That as 9 former heads of the CDC slammed Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in a New York Times op-ed, saying he's, quote, endangering every American's health, and sharply criticizing his firing of CDC Director Dr. Susan Menares, who they say refused to, quote, rubber stamp dangerous and unfounded vaccine recommendations. 4 other top CDC leaders resigned in protest over the firing, one speaking out on NBC's Meet the Press.
There is now an irresistible force that is going to make it impossible for CDC to maintain the validity of its science against ideology.
Lawmakers back in Washington today preparing to press RFK Jr. for answers in a hearing Thursday.
This is contrary to what the secretary said he was going to do, which was follow basic science.
I don't see him ignoring the science. I see him asking the hard questions.
A high-stakes battle raising serious questions for the nation's public health. With the new COVID vaccine guidelines narrowing approvals to seniors and younger people with high-risk conditions, CVS is requiring a prescription in 13 states and D.C. and not administering the shots at all in 3 states for now. Walgreens only saying it's prepared to offer the vaccine in states where we are able to do so. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem confirming ICE will expand its operations to more major cities. Earlier this month, the Trump administration sent federal officers, ICE agents, and thousands of National Guard troops to Washington, D.C., claiming to help with crime-fighting operations. Mr. Trump has since threatened to send federal officers to other major cities across the country, including Baltimore and Chicago. Losing your luggage at the airport is frustrating enough. Imagine finding out, though, that it wasn't lost, but stolen. That's exactly what happened to one passenger. Alex Rozier shows us how he managed to track it down.
We all know that feeling at the end of a long trip when all you want to do is get home. But imagine getting over here to baggage claim only to find out your luggage was stolen. That's what Daniel Scott says happened to him this week.
They had told us that this was where the bags were going to be coming out.
Around 10:30 Tuesday night, Daniel said he flew in from Salt Lake City and walked to baggage claim to pick up his suitcase on Carousel 25.
About 10 minutes passes by and nobody's seeing their bags. So Delta comes on over the intercom and say, I'm sorry, it's actually coming out at baggage claim 23.
But when he got to Carousel 23, his bag wasn't there either. But thankfully, Daniel had an Apple AirTag in his suitcase, which allowed him to track the location of his luggage.
So I grabbed my phone and I looked at it and I saw that it was not in this terminal, but that it was moving towards the Uber lot and leaving the airport. So I just immediately started sprinting to the Uber lot. Once I got to the Uber lot, I saw that it was continuing to move and it had reached across the street.
His AirTag said his suitcase ended up here, a half-mile away at this fenced-in, boarded-up abandoned building at the corner of 98th and Sepulveda.
I knew that my luggage tag was saying it was in this vicinity.
Daniel said his partner called LAX police and officers responded minutes later.
And when they pulled up, they asked where it was. We were literally looking for it, and then they shined the light within the building, and we saw some movement in the building. And then when the guys came to the window, they lined them up in the window. I saw the guy with my clothes on. He had my shoes on, he had my shirt on, and my pants on.
Video shows LAX police detained several people. And once they cleared the building, Daniel said officers let him search for his suitcase. He eventually found it, but his clothes were everywhere.
So this is a pretty big building, and my clothes were scattered throughout in multiple different rooms. But at the end of it, I got about 90% of my items back, which I was super happy about.
Now, a few days later, Daniel urges anyone who's ever in a similar situation to be safe.
I wouldn't go in this and do this by myself.
And if you're flying anytime soon, there's the savior. Maybe an air tag can help.
It just gave me a fighting chance. Like, it gave me a chance to actually find my luggage and to be able to retrieve it.
Craziest part of the trip?
It was insane, absolutely.
Craziest part would be somebody else wearing my clothes.
I would be so mad. Ooh.
Dude is wearing my clothes.
It just took my suitcase from the airport.
Do you have air tags?
I do.
Yeah, they do make a difference.
They make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Tracking things, children, just saying.
And get your clothes back.
And you can get your clothes back. All right, we'll keep it right here because Chris has the weather impact forecast for us in just 2 minutes.
Good morning, welcome back everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here on WCNC Plus. Beautiful blue skies. Today is going to be another sunny to mostly sunny day. Just like yesterday, and I sincerely say it's literally the same day that we just had yesterday, just minus it not being a holiday, technically a little bit more moisture in the air. Up to 61 degrees around Charlotte, 57 to rebound in Hickory, and 58 for you in the Statesville area. And today, September 2nd, is also World Coconut Day and National Blueberry Popsicle Day, wildly specific. 81 degrees is the high yesterday. We're doing that again. This morning's low was actually 58 degrees, and that was what we had the day before. And a nice day and afternoon in the mid to the upper 70s to the lower 80s. So enjoy it overall. Going to be a great night to maybe head to a baseball game. Charlotte Knights are back in town for their second to last homestand. Game starts at 6:35 and it's Taquitos and Tall Boys night. So there you go, something to celebrate. And moon status for tonight, it's the waxing gibbous. This means that the moon is going on to a full moon. We're officially on September 7th. It's officially full during the afternoon. We'll see it a little bit later on. As for our moon today, you'll start to see it by the late afternoon heading into the evening. So during the evening before the sun sets, you'll even be able to see the moon. It lasts up until about 2 o'clock before it sets. Lows dropping down to around 60 degrees. For our highs, we're seeing a big climb. And this is a diagram that almost looks like the Fury. Back to the upper 80s on Friday, lower 90s on Saturday, but then a cold front quickly brings temperatures back down to either side of 80 degrees to complete the weekend and through most of next week. There's your weather forecast. Let's get right over to Destiny, where it has been a wild ride so far. What's going on now?
It definitely has. We're seeing the same crashes kind of keeping people backed up this morning on our interstates. One of those is the crash at I-85 northbound at Billy Graham Parkway. 2 lanes closed. This is still our latest image of the scene this morning, and here's the long backup. So 2 lanes closed down at exit 33, and the backups are getting all the way back to I-45. So if you're coming from Gastonia, Belmont, West Charlotte, if you're taking I-45, just plan for that this morning. But you can detour by taking Wilkinson Boulevard, although that has started to get a little bit backed up too as people are trying to find their way around 2 crashes. Another one here, the left lane is blocked at I-85 North between NC7 and exit 26, the Belmont Mahaly exit there. So definitely not a great situation all morning long in Gastonia and West Charlotte along I-85 North. In Northeast Charlotte, I-85 southbound between the I-85 connector and West Sugar Creek Road, this one has died down a little bit. The backup is a little bit closer to University City Boulevard this morning, so not as bad as it was a little bit earlier, but still something to know about. I-77 northbound between I-85 and Nations Ford Road, still a lot of backups here on the northbound side, and this is always a backup this time of the morning anyway, so this is not helping it. The left lane is blocked due to this crash. And then we have 2 incidents on Independence Boulevard, one between Briar Creek Road and Hawthorne Lane, and one is actually on Wendover Road, but it's between Independence and Monroe Road. So this is what your Charlotte area looks like right now. The traffic flow map is showing just a lot of red this morning. Definitely plan ahead. Here are your drive times into the Charlotte area.
Hey, good morning. Time for our Tuesday Tailwire along with their friends at Animal Care and Control. By the way, they have 2 locations. We're talking about the one on Toomey Avenue. That's Interstate 77 right there at Remount Road. It'll take you right to Animal Care and Control. Toomey Avenue, the satellite location. Our Tuesday Tailwire is Esco. He is looking for a forever home. Just a great dog. Esco is about 5 years old, weighs somewhere from about 55 to 60 pounds. He is just a sweet, gentle dog. He's been there since June, so we're wondering, hey, maybe he's just shy at the shelter, but would be a great addition to your household. He is house trained. He knows commands, learns easily, and gets along with everybody. That's Toomey Avenue, Animal Care and Control. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can log on to animalclt.org for all the information. Give one more look at him. His name is Esco, and he is our very special Tuesday Tower.
All right, Larry, thanks. Well, this morning, UNC Tar Heel fans are feeling a bit, shall we say, humbled. The highly anticipated debut of new head coach Bill Belichick not quite going as planned. Last night, the Tar Heels opened the season in Chapel Hill against Texas Christian. The Heels scored the first touchdown of the game in the first quarter, looking good, but after that, things went downhill fast. TCU dominating Carolina, and the Tar Heels begin the season with a blowout loss. The final score, 48-14. After the game, Belichick said the team played competitively, but there's still obviously a lot of work that needs to be done. Next up, the Tar Heels head to Charlotte this weekend to take on the 49ers.
Well, we are just days away from the start of the NFL season, and we are celebrating with a countdown to kickoff special. It will feature one-on-one interviews with Panther stars like Derek Brown and J.C. Horn, along with the story behind the couple who designs the team's cleats. Join our sports team tomorrow at 9 p.m. right here on WCNC Plus. We'll also air it on WCNC Charlotte. Make sure that you check it out. Right now, we're going to take a quick break, but keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We're going to have another update on weather and traffic, including that situation there on I-85. Destiny mentioned 2 left lanes blocked. Accident there at the Billy Graham Parkway exit. All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Good morning, everybody. 81 degrees is what we have for our high today. And guess what yesterday's high was? 81. Our low this morning, 58. Guess what yesterday's was? 58 degrees. So 58, 81, back-to-back days looking the same, and if you look off in the distance, that's the way most of yesterday looked as well. So a beautiful day today. Enjoy it. Winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. That is it. So a really good-looking day, and it's also a great feeling day as well. We're still staying in that no-problem range as far as our dew points, so nothing really too excessive yet. We're really going to start to feel that uncomfortable air going into your Thursday and Friday going forward. 7-day forecast shows a big warm-up, though, either side of 90 degrees Friday and Saturday. Now it's Destiny's turn. You have a lot going on, so I'll send it to you.
Yeah, we have a lot of action going on our interstates this morning, especially I-85. Zooming in here, it's really a terrible situation in West Charlotte and Gastonia coming into Charlotte. You want to give yourself plenty of time. I-85 north between Little Rock and Billy Graham Parkway. 2 left lanes are closed down at exit 33, the Billy Graham Parkway exit. We also have this morning an accident on I-85 northbound between NC7 and the Belmont Mount Holly exit. Left lane is blocked here, and going down south to I-77, left lane blocked. I-77 northbound between I-45 and Nations Ford Road, so causing backups there this morning. No accidents on I-45 itself, but because of some of these crashes, it's causing residual backups on the loop. Here are your travel times into the Charlotte area. Follow along with us for more updates on WCNC Charlotte, Plus.
Streaming live right now at 8:30 right here on WCNC Plus. We'll get to breaking news in just a moment.
First up, we're going to start with meteorologist Chris Mulcahy to get an update on our forecast for this Tuesday morning.
Good morning, everybody. I'm super pumped because yesterday was amazing, and guess what? We're doing it again. Check it out. We have 4 different examples how gorgeous it is. We don't really have too many clouds out and about. Actually, a lot of these clouds, you know what they are? They're leftover contrails that are spreading out. We can see a little bit of that action right there. So faded out contrails showing the cooler air and the atmosphere as well. And our low temperatures this morning, 58 degrees Charlotte, 54 for you in Concord. So that's the coldest morning you've had so far this season. 53 degrees around Statesville and 43 in Boone. By the way, the low temperature yesterday, 58 degrees. And our current temperatures right now, we are back up to 61. So Concord, you caught up to Charlotte. 56 for you in Morganton, and then 63s for Lancaster and over in Chirac. Today's high of 81 degrees is matching yesterday. So literally your weather recipe for today is you take yesterday, you sprinkle in some additional clouds later on, you just add a skosh of moisture, but still stay comfortable. So technically it is more humid than yesterday. Yesterday was super dry, but it's barely a noticeable difference. So today's forecast is just going to be great. You can see we're already up into the upper 70s by 1 p.m., rocking around 80 degrees through the middle of the afternoon, and then still 76 degrees at 7 p.m. So this is a perfect afternoon, morning, evening, whatever part of the day. I'm super excited about it. So really take advantage of these days, especially when they come this early. This is a true end of September like day. How you feel over the coming days is going to change. Wednesday, we're still just shy of that sticky air, but by the evening, you're going to notice it a lot more. And also note the mosquitoes love moist air. So it's actually been a lower mosquito environment over the last few, but then they're really going to thrive. Doesn't mean you're not seeing them. It just means that they're not out and about as long during the day. By Thursday and Friday, our mosquito meter is also going to be jumping up as well. Our day and night rain chances are very minimal. We don't have anything that really stands out from the rest, about a 20% chance, and then our overnight ones are barely anything at all. So yeah, we are going to see a slight chance for rain by tomorrow morning, but it doesn't really look to be all that vast. Oftentimes when you have a system like this, it passes the mountains and then it starts to fade out. I think that's going to be a good possibility. Slight chance for rain around Asheville today. The rest of us looking great, near perfection even. But then here's the rain that I'm talking about. This is 6 a.m. Seeing some rain right around the mountains. It pushes off towards the east, but you see it starting to break up. So there is a chance for a light rain shower, or at least a sprinkle, to end the day, end the morning into the afternoon. But a lot of this is going to be fading out. But we're still going to keep a rain chance around for the first part of the day. We dry out with some sunshine. Another brief burst of rain possible, especially west of 321. And then Thursday, we have a chance for isolated thunderstorms. Look at how isolated. Literally, I count 1, 2, 3, come 3 p.m. on Thursday, and by 5 o'clock, you maybe see anywhere from 3 to 6. But very isolated, meaning that a lot of us are staying dry. 7-day forecast on the way up. 86, 88, 91, so feeling more like summer again. So really we have temperatures that are more typical for the middle of July, and also temperatures that you usually see at the end of September, all over the place. So something for everyone. Now this morning, as far as the traffic goes, Destiny, has not been any fun and really something that everyone will enjoy.
That's right. A little bit of good news, though. This is the first time I'm seeing I-85 at Little Rock Road, the northbound side, that is, move at the same pace as southbound. So that's good. It's not completely gridlocked. So that could mean that the crash on I-85 northbound near Billy Graham Parkway is starting to clear. Fingers crossed, it's still showing up on the map, as well as those backups. So just be prepared for that at this time. This is what the map looks like across the area. Have there been some new crashes? Yes. We have not had time to get to them, though, because the major ones are on our interstates as well as Independence Boulevard this morning. So just a heads up. So right now there is a reported crash at I-85 northbound between Little Rock Road and Billy Graham Parkway. 2 left lanes are closed close to the exit 33, which is the Billy Graham Parkway exit. And it's also causing some issues for folks on I-485 as well. So just a heads up. Left lane is blocked on I-85 north back towards Gastonia this morning. This is I-85 north between NC7 and the Belmont Mount Holly exit. So a lot of situations on I-85 north especially. But in northeast Charlotte, we also have I-85 south between the I-85 connector and West Sugar Creek Road. And then down south, left lane blocked, I-77 north between I-45 and Nations Ford Road. 2 incidents near Independence this morning. Independence West between Briar Creek Road and Hawthorne Lane, and then Wendover Road between East Independence and Monroe Road. So a lot to talk about this morning. It's been a mouthful, but hopefully things start to get better in the next hour or so. Gastonia, it's a long time to get into the Charlotte area, 61 minutes, Belmont 51. So give yourself plenty of time this morning and drive safely.
Well, we are following some breaking news at this hour. CMPD is investigating a homicide in North Charlotte.
WCNC Charlotte's Bria Smith is live at that scene on Beatty's Ford Road and Hyde Park Drive. Bria, have you been able to speak with CMPD to get any more information?
Yes, Lisa and Ben, we just heard from Major Ryan Kendall with CMPD just a few minutes ago, and I'm going to take a step out of the view so you guys can take a closer look at the ongoing investigation here. Now, he did say that they received this call and responded to the scene just after 6:30 a.m. right here on the 4100 block of Hyde Park Drive. Again, one victim was pronounced deceased on this scene. They are aware that a shooting did happen here at this location, but they aren't sure if it was that exact shooting. Still learning that information. They do know for sure that this is the only person injured as of right now. Again, the investigation is still preliminary. They do ask and are still looking for a suspect, so they do ask that if anyone had seen anything or heard anything about this investigation to please contact the department directly, but we'll keep you updated with more details as we learn it. For now, back to you guys.
I know it's early on in the investigation, but one of the first questions people ask anytime something like this happens, does it appear to be a random act of violence, or does this appear to be something, say, domestic, of where these two people knew each other and they lived in the same house?
Yeah, and that's actually a question I had the chance to ask Major Kendall, to which his response was that it was still preliminary, so they don't want to say anything without knowing the actual facts for sure, but they do want to just make people aware of their surroundings at all times, whether this was random or targeted, to just be aware of your surroundings wherever you are.
All right, Bria, thanks so much. And we're able to see the traffic getting by there on Beatty's Ford. It looks like the entrance there to Hyde Park Drive still remains closed. We'll keep it right here. We are back in just 2 minutes with the latest recovery efforts as we approach the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene.
All right, back to that breaking news here on WCNC Plus. CMPD investigating a homicide in North Charlotte.
Officers giving an update just moments ago. Speaking to our Bria Smith, let's listen in.
So shortly after 6:30 this morning, officers responded to a check the welfare call here at the 4100 block of Hyde Park Drive. Upon arrival, officers located the adult victim with an apparent gunshot wound. Medic did respond to the scene, but unfortunately that subject was pronounced deceased on scene. Homicide detectives have arrived. Their investigation is ongoing at this time.
Any details on the victim?
None right now, that it's an adult victim.
Was he on an ATV when he was shot?
There is an ATV on the scene. That is all part of the crime scene, and that's part of the ongoing investigation.
Do you know if the shooting happened here or somewhere else?
Indications currently are that some shooting happened here, yes.
Is the ATV like a four-wheeler or a dirt bike?
There's a four-wheeler on scene, in the crime scene, yes.
Is this the only victim as of now, injury or disease?
This is the only injured person that we know of at this time.
Is that it? Actually, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Anything the public needs to know about anybody in danger, currently looking for suspects, anything like that?
The circumstances surrounding this are we're super preliminary in this investigation. We talk a lot about, see something, say something. Somebody out here saw this or knows something about this. We would ask anybody that has any information regarding this to contact Crime Stoppers at 334-1600 and share that information with our homicide investigators.
I know you mentioned that it is preliminary, but do you think that it is more of a targeted incident, or is it something that neighbors in the area should be worried about?
I won't even speculate on the circumstances. That we're super early in the investigation, and I don't want to give any erroneous information regarding what led to this. But it's always important to pay attention to your surroundings, no matter where you go, what you're doing, whether this was targeted or random. That's always important for everyone to remember.
So are you currently looking for a suspect, or is someone?
Oh, absolutely. No, we're currently looking for a suspect at this time.
Again, that's the information just moments ago from CMPD investigating that homicide this morning in North Charlotte. Just in time for the fall foliage, more than 85 miles of Blue Ridge Parkway is now drivable for the first time since Hurricane Helene hit western North Carolina. Those repairs have been fixed that stretch from milepost 382 in Asheville all the way to milepost 469 near Cherokee. Now on social media, Blue Ridge Parkway asks folks to be patient and to respect any remaining closures. If you're planning to hike the trails, watch out for hazards like landslides and tree debris. When Hurricane Helene caused that massive destruction in western North Carolina, Lowe's sprang into action, helping with disaster relief in its own backyard.
That meant donating millions of dollars, supplies, and volunteer hours. But the Mooresville-based home store also got creative with their relief efforts. WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden shows us how the company is continuing their efforts 1 year later.
Even longtime employees here at Lowe's who are used to being in disaster zones were struck by the sheer magnitude of what happened almost a year ago because of Helene, and because of that, the company got creative in their recovery efforts.
I've seen storms in Wilmington, I've seen storms in other parts of the country. Quite honestly, wasn't anticipating the amount of devastation that we saw, and just really the need from the people that were desperate for both supplies and other services.
Sean Riley is a regional vice president with Lowe's, part of a massive team helping lead the store's efforts in helping with recovery.
We're from North Carolina, so this is super personal for us, and our team took it very personally. These are communities that we live in. Our associates were also impacted.
We first met Sean in the days just after the storm blew through in Swannanoa, where entire neighborhoods were shredded. Lowe's volunteers were working alongside others, doing what they could to salvage what they could. All this while they were cleaning up their own stores. The Boone Lowe's flooded, but opened the next day so people could get much needed supplies.
Things like generators and chainsaws, long-handled tools, ATVs that were utilized to be able to get up into the mountains in some areas to help get people out of their homes that have been trapped for a period of time.
But then the Lowe's leadership started thinking outside the box. At Thanksgiving, they hired local restaurants who'd been hit hard to make Thanksgiving meals to be donated to the community. And there was more.
The Arts District was completely shattered, so people lost everything. So us doing our business grants to be able to get these businesses back up and running. We had an art exhibit in our store in East Asheville that we were able to bring artists into the parking lot so that they could sell their wares.
Perhaps the most impactful thing Lowe's did, working with a Charlotte area builder to design, build, and distribute tiny homes to people who'd lost everything.
You know, Lowe's was able to do over 130 tiny homes. I think 67 of them were donated before Christmas Eve or by Christmas Eve up there, so that they could actually put them on their land. So as they were rebuilding or having construction done, that they'd have a safe place to be able to stay.
A year later, the work continues.
There's only still a lot of work to be done in western North Carolina. So, you know, one of the comments that I heard over and over again from people, you know, when you'd ask, what do you need, is just, you know, please don't forget us. So I think, you know, as the year has gone by, it's, you know, easy for us to be able to back that up and say that, you know, we haven't gone anywhere.
One of the Lowe's stores there in East Asheville took on 14 feet of water. It was forced to close for months, finally reopened this past spring. Reporting in Charlotte, Michelle Bowden, WCNC Charlotte.
And it's worth noting that Michelle's piece right there is just one of many we're going to be airing in the next 3 or 4 weeks leading up to the anniversary, because there's so many stories out there to be told, whether it's from a business perspective, from a family perspective, from a survivor's perspective, that we have to tell.
For sure. And again, approaching that 1-year anniversary, a lot of memory going back to that time of last year when the storm hit. So stay with us. We'll have much more as we approach the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. Right now, though, we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to be back right here on WCNC Plus with another check of weather and traffic.
Good morning, everybody. So yesterday we were at 81. Day before we were at 81. Today we're at 81. All right, now I'm just getting lazy, right? Well, the temperatures will finally start to warm up by the time you get to tomorrow. I want to get right to this. So 83 by tomorrow, and that's where our rain chances return. Starting to feel a little bit more humid as well. And that humid air certainly is here for Thursday through Saturday. And look where our temperatures are going. 88 degrees, 91. And we're also going to have on and off pop-up thunderstorm chances Thursday through the weekend as well. So really a delightful forecast for everyone if you like fall or end of September like weather, or if you want to revisit what we should have been doing earlier in August and the mid to latter part of July. Well, we have a couple of days of that as well. And as you can see, for the long term, most days have at least that typical 20% chance for an isolated pop-up storm as that mugginess is returning. I'm looking at our futurecast way here in the middle of the Atlantic, because we're always looking for these closed little lows right there, because that would indicate a chance for some sort of tropical development and some rotation that could lead to a tropical cyclone. And that's exactly what I think is going to happen here over the next 7 to 10 days. And then meanwhile, close to the United States, this is the time of year that we have to watch out for any low that goes into the Atlantic or the Gulf that could spin up into something. So already the National Hurricane Center is anticipating that this tropical wave off the African coast has a 70% chance for development over the next 2 to 7 days, even a 30% chance within the next 2 days. So that means likely before or by the weekend, we are calling this either Tropical Depression number 7, or we're calling this Tropical Storm Gabrielle. And it's all about steering patterns that really depends on where a hurricane is going to go. And sometimes you can get caught in between steering patterns and then they barely move. That's exactly what happened in 2019's Dorian. But what we're looking at is this Bermuda high is going to dance around, then it starts to push a little bit further off towards the east. That potentially is going to allow this thing to maybe glide back out to sea. That's where the long-range trend is going. But hey, we also had the same path for Aaron and actually brought it a little bit closer to the United States. So this is one that we want to watch closely, especially for day 8 to 14 of the extended forecast. Names up next: Gabrielle, Umberto, and Imelda, then Jerry and Karen. And real quick, our hurricane list recycles every 6 years. So the last time that we had Gabrielle was officially back in 2019, and 1989 took a very similar path directly in Atlantic. Fingers crossed it does it again. Let's get right over to traffic, who has been a bigger story than weather by far this morning.
Yeah, definitely. We do have some good news, though. I want to start, though, with this view of I-77 northbound at Tyvola Road this morning. Normally, I-77 northbound traffic would ease up by, close to 9 o'clock. It hasn't, and I've seen some questionable merging activity here on the interstate. But this morning, we do have some crashes that have been going on I-85 as well as I-77. The good news I wanted to report is that this crash near Billy Graham Parkway has cleared, so great news there. Traffic is starting to move nicely in the Charlotte area. However, nearby, we do have an accident here, I-485 outer loop between Morris Chapel Road and I-85. So just pay attention to this icon here. This is where the crash is. But this morning, definitely not a great situation for people getting from I-45 onto I-85. Thankfully, that crash has cleared near Billy Graham Parkway, but you'll still have some issues on the outer loop near I-85 there. We still have this crash, though, in the Belmont area. This is I-85 north between NC7 and exit 26. The left lane is still blocked in that area. So it's been a busy morning. Definitely give yourself plenty of time.
Destiny, thanks. Time now 8:52. Well, you've heard of chiropractic care for humans, but what about for animals? Reporter Carol Clark explains the risks and the benefits.
Do you like these treats?
Meet Kian, a huge Irish wolfhound with a gentle personality. That long spine, though, can sometimes get out of whack.
And they just put him on medication, which isn't really treating or fixing the problem.
So Kian and his owner, Karen, pay a visit to Dr. Christine Kopp.
Well, I'm looking for areas of, in our world, in the chiropractic world, it's called subluxations, and that means like mild misalignments of the spine of the vertebrae. When the vertebrae is misaligned, it can affect the nerves around it, which in turn affects the whole system.
12-year-old black lab Zoe lost the use of her back legs a few years ago.
She was just standing there, started to walk, and just fell over. Nothing from the middle of her back, couldn't move anything.
It took 3 or 4 visits and adjustments, but Zoe is back on all 4 paws, able to walk.
Now we're at the maintenance stage. She's almost 100%.
Manipulation isn't the only thing available for animals. They can also be treated with cold laser therapy. It penetrates the skin, reducing inflammation and increasing healing.
Dr. Kopp also uses supplements to help an animal's health. Just as glucosamine and chondroitin can help human joints, they can also help animals. As for chiropractic,
So I've done alpacas, we have a kangaroo that's coming in. Cats and dogs are my main thing, and horses. I've done mules and donkeys.
but this seems to be a dog day, and these patients are up and walking, enjoying a dog's life.
The vet who you saw in the piece says that certain breeds are more prone to spinal issues than others, and just jumping off furniture can impact their spines and nerves.
All right, we're going back to breaking news that we've been following throughout the morning here on WCNC Plus. Live pictures right now. This is right at Beatties Ford Road, right at High Point Drive there in Northwest Charlotte. Active police presence. We know one person has died. Still a lot of questions out there. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Coming up at 9 a.m. right here on our live Impact News, Jane Monterell will have the very latest there from the scene. Keep it right here. More news, weather, and traffic coming your way on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everyone. Waking up this morning, our weather recipe was easier to prepare than a frozen pizza. All you do is take yesterday, sprinkle some additional clouds, and add a little bit of moisture, but there's really no change. We actually had the same low this morning. We're going to have the same high as yesterday, and it looks the same. Mostly sunny skies throughout, just maybe a few additional clouds for the afternoon. Now, your Wednesday, more clouds for sure. Slight chance for rain either side of noon. Better chance for thunderstorms popping up on Thursday. But look at that. Either side of 90 degrees for a hot spot on Friday and Saturday. Let's get right over to Destiny to see what's going on for your morning commute.
Yeah, we definitely have an active morning still as it gets closer to 9 a.m. Just plan for congestion, especially I-77 northbound, I-85 northbound, but also in some areas on I-45 and then I-85 southbound in the Charlotte area. Just be aware that there might be an accident, there might not be, there might be one that just cleared and it's still backed up. This morning we have a crash I-45 outer between Moores Chapel Road and I-85, as well as near Gastonia on I-85 north. Drive safely out there.